issue of CRP6 and the issue that Azerbaijan raised? I don't see any delegates wishing to take the floor, so thank you very much. We will proceed as proposed, and we close this agenda item, this sub-agenda item 9 for this meeting. Thank you very much, Azerbaijan. We now turn to the one of the other issues in relation under agenda item 9, which was informal consultation on participation of Central Asia in the Eastern European Group. I'm just wondering who I should turn to for a readout. Armenia. So thank you very much, Armenia. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. Armenia was trusted with a facilitation role for 2 informal consultations that were held yesterday and today among interested parties, striving to find a solution that would be acceptable for all. Several proposals were put forward and considered by participating parties, yet no resolution could be reached despite the spirit of cooperation.
Thank you very much, Armenia, for providing that readout to the room, and I am sorry to hear that there was no consensus on proposals on a way forward, but appreciate your informal efforts at assisting with that group. Can I ask if any other delegates wish to take the floor on this issue? Kazakhstan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. Kazakhstan would like to appreciate all the efforts was done by all the distinguished colleagues, and appreciate the efforts to be done to find a common solution. And with this, we would like to make a statement that the Central Asian states reaffirms its commitment to continued cooperation with all parties to the Montreal Protocol in a spirit of mutual respect, inclusiveness, and constructive dialogue in accordance with international law and the principles of the United Nations. As it was mentioned, consensus was not reached on this matter. Consensus was not reached, no consensus. Central Asian states will continue to follow the long-established institutional practice under the Montreal Protocol, whereby the Central Asian states participate within the Eastern European Group, as it was before. And we remain committed to working constructively with all parties on the basis of mutual respect, equitable participation, nomination, and cooperation. In this regard, the Central Asian states would be ready to withdraw their CRP once this established practice is respected and maintained. Otherwise, we unfortunately cannot find a way how to do that. And we would like to stress and repeat again that CRP was put just with one reason: to turn the page and go forward without interference in any work of Montreal Protocol. In this spirit, we urge all parties to unite their efforts and remain focused on the primary objective of Montreal Protocol, protecting ozone layer for the benefit of present and future generations. At a time when the international community faces pressing environmental challenges, It's essential that we preserve the spirit of cooperation, mutual respect, and equity that has long made the Montreal Protocol one of the most successful multilateral environment agreements. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Kazakhstan. I have Czechia on my list. Czechia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This statement is on behalf of the Czech Republic, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, and Slovakia. I would like to start with appreciation of all the contributions made in the informal discussions. No agreement could be reached on the composition of the Eastern European Group. This party made a pragmatic proposal regarding the nomination of the parties from Central Asia as representatives of Eastern European states based on consensus amongst the Eastern European parties and Central Asian parties. We consider this proposal balanced and able to accommodate the concerns expressed by all, very much in the spirit of cooperation and tradition within the Montreal Protocol family. Such a proposal was regrettably not accepted. Regardless of the outcome, we thank all the parties participating in the discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Czechia, and I also thank all the parties for their interactions and efforts to try and find a way forward. I do have one more party on my list who wishes to take the floor. Turkmenistan, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Co-Chair, for having afforded me the floor. Turkmenistan would like to back the statement made by Kazakhstan. We too are grateful to all representatives of the contact group. We wish to reaffirm that the discussions took place in a very positive key. Everyone understood each other. We just didn't come up with a solution. And for this reason, we think we should simply continue the consultations. We, Turkmenistan, don't see any problem here at all. We don't believe that there's a problem. But if there are issues of protocol that need to be discussed, let us continue to do so. And we would like to again state that Turkmenistan, like all countries of Central Asia, is wedded to the spirit of the Montreal Protocol. And we believe that the spirit of this protocol, which is based on the fundamental principles underpinning our organization, the United Nations, equality, and the taking into account of all points of views, will enable us to reach a successful conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Turkmenistan. I now have on my list Kyrgyzstan and the Russian Federation. Kyrgyzstan, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, Co-Chair. Я хотел бы...
I would like to make a small change to the proposal which was made by the Czech Republic. The wording there was the same as in the previous versions. We need to change the wording to ensure that Central Asian states enjoy the same rights as all other participants in this regional group. Madam Co-Chair, distinguished representatives of the Secretariat, distinguished colleagues, allow me first and foremost to convey our heartfelt gratitude to the Secretariat for the outstanding organization of this meeting. And we'd like to thank all states for their active work for the good of our general environmental, our common environmental agenda. I am, however, forced to again revisit the issue, which it seemed to me had already been tackled in the clearest of possible ways. The legal service of the Secretariat clearly stated that no state has the right to exclude another state from a regional group, And they also reaffirmed that every state has the right to uphold its sovereign rights within the framework of the long-standing tradition of existing regional mechanisms. After this clear, unambiguous explanation, it seemed to us that it would be logical to simply close this issue and return to discussing issues which relate to the substance of the Montreal Protocol. Instead of this, for a few days now, we have continued to discuss something that has already been clearly explained to us by the legal services. We keep on asking the same questions over and over again. We come up with different arguments based on international law. But in response, we keep on hearing the same unfounded argument. Distinguished delegates, I am sure that even you are left with the impression that some delegations are attempting to cast doubt not on the position of individual states, but the legal position of the Secretariat itself. Distinguished colleagues, when the regional groups were set up, our world was a very different one. But states didn't come together to engage in geopolitical disputes, but to resolve common environmental issues. When we created these groups, we took into account not only geographical, but also political, economic, and what is especially important, practical considerations. This is why we have states in our international system which are geographically part of a different region, but which work to uphold their rights in a different group. A number of states are members of various groups at the same time, but they decide to uphold their rights in only one of these groups. This is not an exception. This is long-standing international practice, which has already shown its effectiveness, demonstrated its effectiveness, and led to the forging of strong institutional links. When the East European Group was set up, a majority of Central Asian states, like a great many other states, which are today part of this group, didn't even exist as international states. After they acquired their independence at the beginning of the 90s, the states of Central Asia, alongside a number of other new independent countries in Eastern Europe, started to uphold their sovereign rights within the framework of the East European Regional Group. In other words, we started to uphold our rights at the same time. Therefore, from both a legal, historical, and practical point of view, the states of Central Asia enjoy the exact same rights as members of this group. The same rights as any other state that started to participate in its work following the collapse of previous states, existing states. This is why no one has the right to question the legality of our participation or attempt to review or rewrite history, especially the history of our corporation. Distinguished colleagues, members of the Secretariat, all of you know full well that until 2011, the Asia-Pacific Group within the framework of the United Nations Organization bore the simple name of the Asian Group, despite the fact that Pacific states had long been members of it, for decades in fact. Later on, the name was changed, and the reason for this change was to ensure that its name reflected the composition of states and ensure that there wouldn't be any future disputes or misunderstandings. No one at the time referred to a politicization of the process. No one attempted to cast doubt on the legitimate right of the Pacific states. No, quite the contrary. The Asian states respected their partners and took a decision which was based on the principles of inclusivity, of equality, and, let's be honest, common sense. Why does a similar approach today lead to such disputes? If we are really to be guided by the principles of equality between states, then we should avoid double standards. And this is why I would again propose to consider the issue of changing the name of our group into that of Eastern European and Central Asian states. Such a change of name would reflect the existing reality. It would not violate anyone's rights, it would not limit anyone's rights, and it would lift any artificial questions regarding the participation of Central Asian states. If such a compromise proposal is one that leads to objections, then the legitimate question arises. Are we really here discussing the name of the group, or are these attempts to cast doubt regarding the legitimate right of a group of states? Distinguished colleagues, distinguished members of the Secretariat, in my view, there are only three logical avenues to resolving this problem. Firstly, any state which doesn't wish to work to uphold its right within the framework of a regional group has the right to independently decide on its transfer to another group. That's their sovereign right. However, the states of Central Asia intend to continue their activity within the framework of the East European group, where for decades now we have forged powerful professional, personal, and institutional links. My second proposal, as I already said, we need to change the name of our regional group to ensure that in the future there are no misunderstandings. And thirdly, so preserving the existing status quo and stop an ongoing return to this issue would lead us to be able to continue our work in the same spirit as we have for close to 35 years now. Distinguished delegates, the history of international law shows that sustainable international institutes should not be subjected to attempts to change existing practice, but they are bolstered, strengthened by respect for them. No delegation should feel that it has the right to determine which states can be part of an individual regional group. Not one delegation should even think about usurping regional mechanisms. Mechanisms created for all states on an equal basis, equal footing, and if we generally base ourselves on the principles of the sovereign equality of states, this principle is one which must apply to all equally without any exceptions. And by way of conclusion, I would like to share the following. People cannot change history, but they can write history. And this is why I call upon our friends in our regional group to show respect for our common history and not undermine the decades of institutional links that we have forged and to create problems in areas where there have never been any problems before. Distinguished members of the Secretariat, distinguished delegates, distinguished partners, we have come up with a plethora of arguments. Even the legal services clearly, unambiguously, directly, without any additional discussions, explained what the legal situation was. That these initiatives are unfounded. We came up with numerous arguments within each of the contact groups, but it seems that we were not heard. And I'm left with the impression that, I wouldn't want to say this, but I'm forced to by circumstances. All of these actions, steps by a number of states are explained, or can only be explained, by the fact that they have a discriminatory view. And a lot of us understand that this is something that was also demonstrated in during previous events. And I would ask the legal services of the Secretariat to provide us with with a legal and disciplinary assessment of the situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kyrgyzstan. I turn the floor now to the Russian Federation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madam Co-Chair. The Russian Federation fully shares the statement made by the representatives of Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, and Tajikistan. We would ask you to reflect them fully in the outcome document of our meeting. For close to 35 years, the 5 states of the Central Asian region, which are part of the East European group of countries, have participated actively and done a great deal to achieve the objectives of the Montreal Protocol on the protection of the ozone layer. We cannot understand why 5 states of the Western European region, Czechoslovakia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, and Slovakia, the East European region, I apologize, have taken a destructive approach and are attempting to conduct it within the framework of the Eastern European group, aimed at splitting our regional group up. It is a positional principle of the Russian Federation that within the framework of the United Nations system, all countries are equal and have equal rights. And not one country or group of countries has the right to dictate conditions upon others. In this respect, we would urge this destructive discussion to be brought to an end regarding the participation of Central Asian states in the work of the East European group. This discussion, I want to remind you, was one that was initiated by the representative of Czechia during the course of a meeting of parties to the Montreal Protocol in Nairobi last year. Further developments, which were part of this question, have shown that it was raised in an unjustified way. There's no foundation for it, and there was no consensus decision on it beyond the fact that the Central Asian states will continue to work within the East European group of states. Nothing else will happen. This will continue. This is why I urge all to put an end to this destructive discussion and focus on achieving the objectives of the Montreal Protocol. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Russian Federation. I now have 4 more delegates seeking to take the floor. Tajikistan, the EU, Czechia, and Uzbekistan. Tajikistan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. Distinguished co-chairs, Secretary of Ozone Secretariat, distinguished delegates of the Montreal Protocol, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, colleagues. This is the first time that the delegation of the Republic of Tajikistan has taken the floor, and I just would like to thank the government of Thailand for their hospitality, and also I would like to thank the Ozone Secretariat for the excellent organization and arrangement of the OEWG and XMOP, and also for today's plenary. Delegation of the Republic of Tajikistan shares the position of the Central Asian countries that we will continue to follow the long-established institutional practice under the Montreal Protocol, whereby the Central Asian states participate within the Eastern European group. And also I would like to add that the principle of equal and inclusive participation by all countries in regional groups must remain one of the main elements of the decision-making process under the Montreal Protocol. Any proposed changes affecting the interests of regional group members should be discussed in a spirit of openness and be based on international law and established practice at meetings of the parties. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tajikistan. I turn the floor now to the EU.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. The EU and its member states disagree with the last three statements read out. The regional groups should decide on membership amongst themselves. Any changes require consensus in the regional group, and having heard the interventions so far this evening, we're of the impression that there has been no agreement reached within the Eastern European group. Thank you.
Thank you very much, European Union. Czechia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm sorry to come back, but I have to clearly reject unfair reference made by one party to our party. Just to be clear, we never sought to change the membership of UN groups. We have always carefully based our acting on the neutral advice provided by the Ozone Secretariat to us and have always acted in the spirit of cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Czechia. Uzbekistan, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, dear Madam Chair, Co-Chair, Madam Chair, distinguished participants. I will be very brief in my intervention. I would like to convey that Uzbekistan shares the position of its Central Asian colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Uzbekistan. One moment while we confer. Thank you very much, delegates, and I apologise for taking some time. After considering all the views that have been expressed, we propose to forward this issue to the MOP for further discussion and to close this agenda item here. Is that an acceptable way forward? Kazakhstan, you have the floor.
I just want to clarify, Madam Co-Chair, as an item to the agenda of MOB 38. Am I correct? Separate item. Thank you.
Yes, it would be a separate item, Kazakhstan. EU, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a question of clarification, please. Is that as an agenda item or as a CRP? Thank you.
Thank you, EU. That would be an agenda item for discussion. I don't see any delegates wishing to take the floor, so I take it that that way forward is acceptable. Thank you very much. We're going to close this agenda item now, and we will move on with the other items that we need to come to this evening. So thank you very much. One moment. Thank you. We were going to address the informal consultations on CRP2 Rev 1, but Cuba is not in the room, so we will come back to that issue. In the meantime, I will turn to my colleague to deal with agenda item 6 on viability of the Montreal Protocol. Igobi, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Annie. We tend to the two co-facilitators for the contact group on viability. They had their last meeting earlier today, and I look to Sergio from Mexico or Alessandro. Okay, I see Sergio is ready to report. You have the floor.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Co-Chair. I'd like to begin by thanking, on behalf of my co-facilitator Alessandro, and in my own name, the great work conducted by the delegations taking part in this contact group, which made it possible to complete their work moving forwards on this topic, thanks to their readiness to make comments and to continue exploring alternatives in order to ensure the viability of the Montreal Protocol in the coming years. The contact group today had a third and last session where we went through all of the questions formulated by delegations participating throughout our sessions, which was completed by the Secretariat, to ensure that contributions of delegations would be duly recorded. Based on that list, the Secretariat will work giving due attention to the issues in order to complement the information presented related to the viability of the Montreal Protocol, and to be able to continue reviewing this topic during our next meeting of the parties. The Secretariat showed its readiness to receiving additional questions, those already sent, which can be sent by email to the email accounts of the Secretariat until the 31st of August. Interested parties can also ask for virtual meetings with the Secretariat if they believe it's necessary to review specific topics of relevance related to this topic. Therefore, the contact group has concluded its work during this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sergio. We thank you and Alessandro for the work that you did on the contact group, facilitating it, and we note the update you just gave. With that, we propose to close this agenda item for this meeting and continue discussions at the MOP. Is that agreeable to the delegates? Yep. So this will be informed by the information that the Secretariat will provide. And as mentioned during Sejo's feedback, delegates will continue to provide feedback until the 31st of August. So this agenda item will be closed for this meeting. I see a request from the floor. Iran, you have the floor.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. May I request the Secretary to provide an email or somebody who we are requested to send our questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you. It will be to the general email address of the Secretariat, and that is indicated in the list that was discussed in the contact group. If you look at that list, which is posted in the contact group workspace, you will see that it has the email address of the Secretariat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretariat, and thank you, Iran. With that, we consider the item closed for this meeting, and I hand over to my co-chair, Annie, to continue with the next item.
So we're still waiting for 2 agenda items to be concluded. The informal consultations on CRP2 Rev 1 and also the discussion on further guidance to be provided to the TEEP replenishment task force, which is happening as we speak in the other room, which is, I'm sure, where Cuba is. So with the permission of the room, we would like to proceed to adoption of the report and come back to those other issues when those are concluded and when we can get the readouts from those consultations. Is that agreeable to the room? I see no objection. Thank you. So now I turn to Igobi for the adoption of the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. So we'll move to the adoption of the report. The report we're about to adopt is contained in documents 48L1 and 48L1 Ed1. Both documents have been posted on the meeting portal. Document L1, which covers discussions on Monday and Tuesday, is available in all languages, while document L1 Ed1, which covers discussions on Wednesday and Thursday, is only available in English, as the limited time available to prepare and edit the document did not make translation into other official UN languages possible. You will note that some sections are yet to be completed. This is in conformity with our practice to adopt reports of proceedings based on the understanding that the co-chairs, with the assistance of the Secretariat, will be authorized to complete the report after the session, including the sections that are already reflected in the draft report. I am submitting it for adoption on the understanding that today's proceedings and approved changes will be incorporated in the final report. We will go through the report by agenda items and taking a groups of paragraphs for adoption together on each item. I suggest that any participant with minor editorial comments can bring those straight to the Secretariat here at the podium immediately after we finish adopting the report without necessarily seeking to make an intervention from the floor. However, if there are specific and extensive corrections in any paragraph of the report, then please first request the floor to read out those corrections and thereafter provide the text to the Secretariat for proper reflection in the final report of the meeting. We will first take up document L1 and thereafter turn to document L1 Ed 1. Now we move first to document L1. We start with section 1 of the document on opening of the meetings, and we look at paragraphs 1 to 12. Are there any comments? I see none, so that is approved. We move on to section 2 on organizational matters. Paragraphs 13 to 15 will be completed. So we take paragraphs 16 to 23. Are there any comments? No comments, so approved. We then move on to paragraph 24 on organization of work. Are there any comments? I see none. Approved. We move to section 3, which is the TIP report on replenishment, and we take paragraphs 25 and 26. Are there any comments? No comments. Approved. We now move to paragraphs 27 to 30. Are there any comments? I see none, so approved. We move on now to paragraphs 31 to paragraph 42. Are there any comments? No comments, so approved. Now we go to paragraphs 43 to 50. Are there any comments? I see none, so approved. Paragraphs 51 to 55. Are there any comments? I see none, so approved. Oops, sorry. We move on now to section 4 of the document. I'm sorry, I see one request for the floor. The European Union, you have the floor.
Sorry? Sorry, Madam Co-Chair. It seems in the next document that I have a comment, so we will come back later.
Thank you very much. This is noted. So no comments on paragraphs 51 to 55. Adopted. We move to the TIP progress report on section 4. We are looking at paragraphs 57 and 58. Are there any comments on those paragraphs? I see none, so approved. Paragraphs 59 to 71. Are there comments? I see none, approved. We move on now to paragraphs 72 to 80. Are there any comments? I see none, so approved. Paragraphs 81 to 86. Are there comments? None, so approved. We move on to paragraphs 87 to 92. Are there any comments? I see none, so approved. Paragraphs 93 to 99 will be completed. So we move on to section 6 on ensuring the viability of the Montreal Protocol operations, which is paragraphs 100 to paragraph 112. Paragraphs 100 to 112. Are there any comments? I see none, so approved. The rest of the paragraphs in the document will be completed. Let us now turn to document L1/Ed1. Section 1 of the document on the TIP replenishment report. We start with paragraphs 1 to 5. Are there any comments? I see none, so approved. Section 2 of the document on the T progress report, paragraphs 8 to 14. Are there any comments on those paragraphs? I see none, so approved. Moving on to paragraphs 15 to paragraph 25. Are there any comments? I see none, so approved. Paragraphs 26 to paragraph 32. Are there any comments? I don't see any, so approved. We move on to paragraphs 33 to paragraph 38. 33 to 38. Are there any comments? I see none, so approved. Paragraphs 40 to paragraph 48. Are there any comments? I see none, so approved. Section 3 of the document on enhancing regional atmospheric monitoring, we move to paragraphs 49 to paragraph 56. 49 to 56. Are there? I see a request for the floor from the European Union. European Union, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. It's simply a clarification. In the paragraph, the second sentence starts with notwithstanding some administrative delays, and we think if it would be replaced by his party hopes to give the green light on the availability of these funds still this year, reflects better what we said, and we will transmit the language to the Secretariat. Thank you very much.
This is noted, and you will submit the paragraph to the Secretariat. So this is adopted. Paragraphs 57 to 60. Are there any comments? I see none, so adopted. Paragraph 61 will be completed. We move to further strengthening of Montreal Protocol institutions contained in paragraph 62 to paragraph 68. Are there any comments on those paragraphs? I see none, so adopted. Paragraphs 69 to 76. Are there any comments? I see none, so approved. Paragraph 77 will be completed. Section 6 on the status of preparations for MOP 38, contained in paragraph 78 to paragraph 84. Are there any comments? I see none, so approved. Section 7 on other matters, contained in paragraph 85 to paragraph 103. Other matters contained in paragraph 85 to 103. Are there any comments? I see none, so approved. Paragraph 105 to 109 on nitrous oxide. Are there any comments? I see none, so adopted. And we now move to paragraphs 110 to paragraph 116. And I see a request for the floor from Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. I just would like to correct some wording in the 112 at the end of that item, in that paragraph, which says that her party considered. It sounds a bit not correct. Maybe Azerbaijan conceded here would be very relevant wording. Azerbaijan conceded that the implementation factors arising in its own case were relevant to those mechanisms established under paragraph 2 and 4 of Article 2G of the Monterey Protocol, and full stop. And we propose, if possible, to delete the end of the sentence after "and". Thank you.
Thank you very much, Azerbaijan. This is noted and will be corrected. With that, these paragraphs are adopted. The rest of the paragraphs in document L1 Ed 1, paragraph 118 to 119 will be completed. We've therefore come to the end of approving the meeting report as contained in documents L1, 48L1 and 48L1 Ed 1. I see a request for the floor from Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan, you have the floor.
Just would like to ask whether the 117 that was the square brackets to be completed will be shared through the emails or beforehand with the parties, or how we will see the completion of this paragraph to be agreed. Yeah.
So the Secretariat will provide a response.
Thank you, Co-Chair, and good evening to the distinguished delegates. By approving the report, parties authorize the Secretariat under the authority of the Co-Chairs to complete the paragraphs that are currently marked as to be completed. So it is not envisaged that there would be a consultation prior to finalization of the report. But if Azerbaijan has some comments of what it expects to see, then we could take that into account when we review the report before it is finalized under the authority of the co-chairs. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretariat, and thank you, Azerbaijan. So we've come to the end of the adoption of the report as contained again in documents 48L1 and 48L1 Ed 1. Thank you very much, delegates. I now hand over the floor to my co-chair to continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, delegates. I apologise for the delay. We were just trying to sort out some logistical issues up here. So we will, in the absence of two issues being unresolved and still to be resolved, we will suspend plenary for the moment until we have conclusion on those two issues. It is unfortunately, though, we will not have interpretation after 9 o'clock. So I do urge your colleagues, and I do urge you to urge your colleagues in the replenishment negotiations to work hard and to try and conclude their negotiations before we can finish this meeting. Russian Federation, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. We would like to clarify, when do you plan to close our session? And secondly, we are not ready to continue working without interpretation being provided. Interpretation is a right which is enshrined in our rules of procedure, and interpretation must be provided. It must be provided at all plenary sessions of our meeting. If there is no interpretation, then we will not be able to continue our meeting. a number of delegations have plane tickets flying out this evening, and we are depriving them from the right to participate in the work of the session. This is a violation of their rights. Therefore, we would like to inquire, when do you plan to close the session?
Thank you very much, Russian Federation. We are hoping to conclude by 9 o'clock. We cannot be 100% certain, but as I said, we are urging our colleagues in the other contact group to expedite their work and to finish as quickly as possible so that all parties can take advantage of the interpretation available. Thank you, Russian Federation. Russian Federation.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I have a technical question. If the countries are not able to discuss all the issues that they're discussing within the framework of the working groups, could we not take a decision that these issues will be postponed until the next meeting and that the discussions will continue then, to ensure that we can close this meeting in a timely manner, as long as we have interpretation? Well, I say timely, we've already worked for an hour, 40 minutes longer than we had expected to.
Thank you very much, Russian Federation. Indeed, the contact group is working hard to finish its work, which is actually required to be finished at the OEWG because they are tasking the TEEP to undertake some additional work before the meeting of the parties. But we will do our best to request the contact group to finish its work in time for them to bring their finished work back into the plenary before 9 o'clock. Thank you. Russian Federation.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, for this clarification. Now, from meeting to meeting, we expect the conclusion of the work of the working group. And then they always inform us that they have worked very hard, but were not able to reach agreement, and then the work is postponed. And we are worried that the same thing might happen now. We believe that this is the wrong approach. The practice is wrong. We should stop engaging in it. And we would like to state that after interpretation has come to an end, the Russian Federation, or at least a delegation of the Russian Federation, will insist that this meeting end. We will not work without interpretation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Russian Federation. Your views are well noted. This plenary is suspended until advice is given. Thank you. Thank you very much, delegates. We will make a start. We still have 2 issues to conclude, and so we will try and get through those as quickly as possible. I'm going to turn now to agenda item 3 and the informal consultations on the Cuba issue, which was CRP2 Rev 1. We recall that during the discussion in plenary on this issue, there was no consensus to discuss the CRP, and Cuba was tasked with doing some more consultations on this. We do not have Cuba in the room, unfortunately, and so we propose to close this agenda item. So this agenda item will be closed, and there was no consensus to forward the CRP, to discuss the CRP, or therefore to forward it. Is that agreeable to the room? I don't see any delegates wishing to take the floor. Thank you so very much. So we are closed with this agenda item. We now come to our last agenda item, which is agenda item 3 and the outcome of the contact group on the replenishment report. And I would like to turn to one of the co-chairs, the conveners, either Marusa or Ralph, to give a report out on the outcome of that contact group. I'm hoping there's good news because I did see some smiling. Can I get an indication of who's going to do the report out? We are waiting for the text to be put on the portal, but we will get the readout while we're waiting for that. Marusa, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. I'm pleased to report that that following constructive discussions and the willingness of all parties to make compromises, the contact group has reached agreement on the text containing the suggestions for the supplementary report. And do you want me to read it? Because the whole text? But before that, we, on behalf of my co-chair and myself, we would like to thank all the parties for spending so much time and working together to come into a conclusion and engagement throughout the discussions.
Thank you very much, Marusa, and I would like to thank your contact group, you and Ralph, for your hard work and the many hours that you have spent leading this group in the last week, and also to all members of the group for their flexibility in coming to a conclusion. I'm just checking with the Secretariat as to when the text will be available on the website for everybody to look at it. The document is just being processed and should be posted very shortly. Thank you. Thank you very much. I can confirm that the finalised text has been posted under the replenishment contact group workspace. It is the last document in the list. Can I just ask delegates to review it and ensure that it conforms with your understanding and what was agreed in the contact group? Can we agree this text? I don't see any objection, so thank you very much. This text is agreed and will be incorporated into the report as an annex. So thank you very much. We now come to our very last agenda item, which is happily closure of the meeting. Thank you, delegates, for all your extremely hard work throughout the week. It has been a challenging week, but we have made good progress on so many issues, and we have laid the groundwork for discussions at MOP 38, and particularly ahead of replenishment discussions. On behalf of my co-chair, Igubi, thank you very much, and the Secretariat who have worked so hard, we look forward to seeing you all in Kigali, and I wish everybody safe journeys and good night, and may you catch all your flights and maybe have a rest day tomorrow. Thank you very much. This meeting is closed.